Okay, boys and girls, so we have been talking about clocks for quite a bit now, and I really want you to understand completely what my minutes hand means, what my hours hand means, why we have 12 numbers on our clock, and how to tell when we count by fives to get the minutes. Okay, so let's begin. So each day has 24 hours, and that's broken up into two. That's why we have 12 hours on our clock, okay? Our hour hand is always the shorter hand, okay? Our hours is the shorter hand, and our hours are in increments of 1. So we're going to start with 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. Did you see how it went from 1 to 12 all the way around the clock? 1 to 12. Those are my hours. Now, my minutes hand is the longer of the two. So the longer one tells me the minutes. So my hour goes first. Then we have the 2 dots. And then we put the minutes next, okay? And that's where we come up with either it's 00 for o'clock, 15 for 15, or 30 for half an hour, okay? Now, when we count minutes, if my finger is the long hand now rather than the hour, now I'm the long hand, I'm the minutes. I'm going to count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes. So again, my hour hand is the shorter hand, and it's going to give me a number between 1 all the way to 12. My minutes hand is the longer hand, and that is going to count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay? Now let's practice telling time with the clocks that I've written here. Now, let's take a look at this clock. My shorter hand, which is my hour hand, that's the first number that goes here, is pointing to what? Is it pointing to the 1, or is it in between 1 and 2? It's in between 1 and 2. So it's not quite 2 o'clock, it's still 1. So this clock says it is 1 what? My long hand, my minutes hand, is pointing to the 6. So how do I find out what minutes it is? Well, I count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it is 1:30. And I'm going to write 1:30 right here. Now that this says 1:30, I'm moving on to the next one. This clock is pointing to, the shorthand is pointing to what? To the 9. So we know it's going to say 9, which is my hour. And now my minutes hand is pointing to the 12. So if it's pointing to the 12, that means it went all the way around. It's at the top of the hour, which tells me it is o'clock. So I'm going to put a 0, 0. So it is 9 o'clock. Now, the last clock I have on here, the shorter hand is pointing to what? Not quite 7 and not quite 8. So we are going to say it's 7 o'clock because we always pick the smaller number. So it's 7 o'clock, but I can't say 7 o'clock because it's not on the 12. So I need to find out what my minutes hand says. Do you know what it says? 5, 10, 15, 7, 15.